Hello everybody, we are here, Christy and I, both spa owners, Brilliant Massage and Skin, and we wanted to share that it's been 1 year since we had Stowe, almost 1 year.
Yeah, coming up on 1 year in just a week or so, yeah.
Yeah, and Christy opened up last year the way the deadline worked out, just like at the end of ski and snowboarding season. But you know, we grew still through the summer, fall time, and winter. So would you mind sharing how was your first year in business?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a journey. It was an interesting time to open, kind of at the end of that ski season and being new in that community. But since that time, we've definitely built some local following, building with marketing for the tourist market as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that there's definitely a lot of stabilization in the market in this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing now going into the summer season, being more established in the community, what that's going to look like.
This will be very interesting. And you've been really great at generating reviews. You got over 50 now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you started with 1 treatment room, now you have 2 treatment rooms.
Yeah, so I started small and
with pop-up, yeah.
Yeah, so at the beginning with the pop-up, I was the primary practitioner there,
Mm-hmm.
and now I've hired out, and those employees that's why we hire brilliant people.
Yes.
who do, provide top-tier services. So continuing to get those reviews, those repeat clients. Yeah.
Yes, and you maintain 5-star reputation, and so through this year, what would you say was like the biggest challenge, or what was the biggest help that we also helped you as a franchise? Do you feel like that was helpful to be part of the other like bigger brand? Well, not bigger per se, but like a parent.
Absolutely. So I think having that market recognition, the local recognition, and then also just it has helped with marketing that there's that name and that. So at the beginning when I had 0 reviews,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't coming from nowhere because I have a parent
Right.
company
Mm-hmm.
with, a history that
Yes.
people coming into the area or even the locals that might not know our brand up here in Burlington area
Mm-hmm.
could look at. So
Yeah.
that was, I think, extremely helpful with the marketing.
It's like a proof of concept and maybe higher authority and trust with customers.
Yes.
Because when they go on the website, let's say if they see an ad or something like that, they would notice that they have also Burlington, South Burlington, and they have established good reputation, good reviews over there, so they're more likely to go ahead and schedule those appointments at the new location.
Sure, and I have had people on the phone that have called in and mentioned, I looked through the website, I see that you're established, so it just feels kind of safer for them.
Right.
Even though maybe, I've been doing this for multiple decades, but to kind of see our website, our brand, mission statement, and our services.
Yeah.
It's a safer space for them.
Because it is a vulnerable service when people, undress and go somewhere. They want to make sure that it's going to be clean, safe, secure, and vetted people, with track of record.
Of course, yeah. I would say my biggest challenge, just being in the area that I am, has been kind of the real estate market there.
Yes,
and I
for
do
sure.
love my location. I hope to expand that. But since I'm not an owner at that location, we'll see.
Not the real estate owner.
Correct.
Yeah, the business owner.
Right, I don't own the real estate, yeah. So
Not at this time, but
Not
maybe
yet.
in the future. Yeah.
yeah. So, that had, being a renter can be tricky. And then I would just say finding full-time employees that are committed to that location because it is a more rural tourist area. So generally we're commuting from pretty far. I drive 45 minutes in the winter to get there.
Yeah.
So that would be the trickiest, but I feel like people that love living in the woods in that community, I've definitely found kind of the tribe that works there.
Found your people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the key. And as a franchise, we provide templates and hiring help and where to advertise, how to interview people, because that can be for a lot of people that want to start spas. It can be struggle hiring people, one of the biggest struggle, and retaining them. So having like a system, how do we acquire talent, how do we retain it, is a big thing.
Yes.
And I'm sure you gain more experience as you did it several times through that process, through the system. I feel like you became more confident in onboarding them and doing all the interviews and things like that.
Yeah, I would say at the very beginning, because I was still moving in and trying to,
It's hard.
Interview. And so that also I can see from the employee perspective of like, you haven't even set up your place yet. I'm like, well, just trust the process, like it's going to work, and it has.
Yeah.
So,
It gets easier, it gets easier later, so you just have to trust the process, but like not all people have that imagination. So it's like the same as like trying to show how the place would look after renovation, like people want to see the final product oftentimes.
Yeah.
So moving forward, what is your kind of goal for this year and the next 5 years? How do you picture your spa?
Yeah, I would like, by the end of this year, I'd like to expand to at least 2 more rooms. In 5 more years, I would like to own the building that I'm in. That would be my ultimate goal, I feel. But yeah, I think for this year, at least 2 more rooms.
That would be great.
Hydrofacial.
Adding the hydrofacial too. And there is a lot of good programs for business owners to acquire real estate, such as like 504, which you only need 10% down towards that, as long as you use 50% of the building. So maybe not the very building that you're in, but maybe finding like a smaller one where you could occupy 50%. That would be an option. But Stowe, it is, the real estate is very expensive there, but some properties do come up, can get discouraged.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the main thing, is not getting discouraged, because even those slow weeks, or, am I going to find someone to cover these shifts? And because a lot of our treatments are couples treatments. So at the beginning that was difficult, just not having consistent staff for certain days, but now I'm there. So I just don't get discouraged, and if I think it happens, and I keep going with that.
You have to keep believing in yourself and the process, and if it works in one area location, it'll work for you too, right? Why wouldn't it? So you just keep plugging away at it. And because for us too, the first couple years are always the hardest. The first year is the hardest. That's where a lot of people give up or go out of business, or they expect like more immediate overnight results, success. But business is like an investment that they sometimes can, it takes a while. Not sometimes, most of the time it takes a while to ramp up, and it's kind of like this engine that then once it gets going, it picks up some speed. It gets easier.
Absolutely.
Better.
Yeah, and to go back to the 5-year thing too, I do see myself opening I've looked at North Carolina, I've looked at Wyoming. Like, I have an idea of places that I'd like to be, and where it could work.
Yeah.
And I've talked to, just friends in my life, but, I don't like to speak something before I'm fully, but just a little secret in my world.
Yeah.
I have bigger plans.
Nice. Yeah, those are definitely great spots to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. What else would you like to share? Maybe with somebody that is hesitant. Maybe they are burned out in their profession, or maybe they would like to go out to open up a spa, or what would you recommend to these type of people?
Sure. I mean, I would say venturing into any business, it's still hard work. I know for myself, being a massage therapist for such a long time, it's a really nice switch up that, yes, I work really hard, and there's days I come home and I just want to lay in bed too, like anyone else. But it's a different type of exhaustion or tiredness, if you will. And it's and I wake up every day and I'm building something for myself.
Yeah.
And that feeling and that just momentum that I have, it's like I'm doing this for me, for my kid, for my family, and it's not like, oh, I'm clocking in or just seeing clients every day, and where is this going to leave me in life? Like, I have a vision.
And you're building an asset that you could sell later too.
Yes, building an asset, building a legacy. So I encourage anyone to, take the bull by the reins and do it if you want to really go into business.
Yeah.
Just realize that it comes with its own challenges, but it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for some people, being in a treatment room, that's what they want to do, and that's totally fine. But if you feel like you are longing, wanting something more, something different, you don't have to quit this industry. You don't have to go look for another 9-to-5. You could become a business owner, whether that's through franchising, whether that's through going on your own, but you would have to study. You're going to have to be more business minded. That's going to have to be a mindset shift also, what you can accomplish and how you see yourself. That you're now also a marketing and a salesperson, and you have to not be afraid of that.
Right. I actually really enjoy doing payroll, although I do have an accountant for the more complicated things, but I do, I answer the phone. So right now I don't have a phone assistant, secretary, which eventually and hopefully soon I'll get that. But I really actually enjoy having that conversation with the clients and kind of being in control of the booking and being able to walk them through treatments that they would need. So just handling all those different little aspects where if I was just in the treatment room, I don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
But worrying about all the, is there water, laundry, just the little details, which I thrive in, and it helps me stay focused,
Yeah.
So if you're that type of detailed oriented person, open your own business.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and also like you're serving other people, you can serve in a bigger scale. It's not selfish to be in business because you actually have to be a giver. You actually, a lot of people, I feel like they see that sometimes as not for what it is, because to be successful business owner, you have to be willing to give a lot of your time, give a lot of your energy, help other people to make money, because if your employees don't make money, you don't make money. It's like a circle of giving.
It really is. And I was just talking with my mom the other night. I was like, it's kind of easier having a bunch of kids than it is employees sometimes. And, because you're dealing with adults and their needs. And my phone is on 24/7 for my team, and and for anything that might come up at the location, clients, although I do have client hours, but
Right.
but I'm always, if I see an email that might come through at 2 a.m, I'm like, okay, I have to be up at 8 to respond to that, even though I don't have to be at the
Right,
office,
yeah.
It's just that time
It's
management.
remote, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and even though like I have a phone assistant, I'm still and some people might disagree that, oh, it's not good to be like always available, but I enjoy it. I enjoy knowing like what's going on, or if there's any emergency, like that's why I'm in business, I guess, because some people think that if they go from 9 to 5, they're gonna be just drinking mojitos on the beach, and like not going to have to work much. It's like, if you want to go to business because of that, let me tell you that it's not reality. I mean, it does give you more freedom in terms that you have more control over when you want to do what and your schedule, especially as the business scales. Like, you can be on vacation and not have to be at the location, but you might still need to like check up your phone if there's an emergency, especially when you maybe don't have yet the phone assistant, know.
I just went out of town recently for the first time in a year, and actually I would travel a little bit more when I was just a full-time therapist, but this year I really made that sacrifice. So I was across the country, and even though, yes, I was by the beach, I wasn't drinking mojitos, but eating ceviche. But I had my phone, I had my computer there, so yes, I was at this wonderful location, but I was still on call and present the whole time for my staff.
And so if people want to, if you want to make things happen, if you want to build something, there's really no shortcuts. You have to like put that work in, and it does get easier and better later on, and then you make more money as the time goes on, hopefully, right? That's the goal.
That's the idea.
Yes. And you do have more and more, as you scale out, you can have more freedom, but it never happens just of a click of a button. That work just has to be done, and you got to build a team. You have to answer when they need you. You have to, be there.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the responsibility for anything that comes up comes on you. So I would say, if you're not ready to be that person to come up, in an emergency, or
if the customer isn't happy, at the end of the day, they're gonna be like, oh, who owns this location? Who's the owner?
Exactly.
Even though it wasn't per se your fault that something got mixed up, or
when people ask to talk to the manager, that would be me. And so and if it's my mistake, of course, but you also have to be responsible for other people's mistakes, or even things that are out of your control, like plumbing or electrical, or all these kinds of
you're the
things.
top person, and everything like trickles down below you. So even if employee mixed up something, then why did the owner hire them? Why did they not train them properly? Why did this happen? So you have to be willing to take on, and over 10 years of business, nothing happened where it would really be life-changing. Thankfully, not yet. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But we're talking about like mistakes like mixing up maybe the service, or on occasion,
it was
things
supposed
like
to be
that.
a 90-minute and they did a 60-minute, or maybe we're out of a product that we didn't realize, or the pressure wasn't to someone's liking, and maybe that just they weren't matched with the right therapist for them. But these are all things that, and the impetus comes onto us at the end of the day.
Yeah, but the other thing as an owner is important, but I've learned also to not take, even though we are responsible for that stuff, and we have to resolve if let's say the assistant or the therapist not able to resolve, we still need to protect our energy, and we only can do so much. So even, and I say, well, did my best, and we're only human. So at the same time, we can't like get overwhelmed too about that.
Sure. Like we can't take things personal, and definitely having energetic boundaries. I think coming from my background as a massage therapist, that's like my number one. So I can translate that into the business aspect very easily, and just life in general. It's just a life practice for me.
Right.
So, but especially, I think it's what I've learned is I was like, thank goodness that I have that background and those skills. To be a business owner.
Yeah, because if the customer is upset about, let's say, mixed up time for the appointment or something like that, we can't let that ruin our day just because the next customer will be happy, and the time goes on, and we have to address whatever happened, try to remedy. Maybe we issue some discount, the refund, or the gift card for future time. But we have to remember that life goes on, and we have to move on.
Yeah, we just have to, I think, rolling with the punches, having boundaries, and just having a strong work ethic as well would be kind of like one of the three main things.
Yes, having strong work ethic and integrity, high integrity as a business owner. Because you are the top decision maker, things trickle down based on you, how the culture in the office, the way you handle everything. So having those things are very important to have a successful business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think it's like a misconception that some people have too, that rich people are, let's say, maybe they didn't acquire it like with the best integrity. Sometimes like there is this kind of like connotation sometimes about people that are well off perhaps, or like entrepreneurs. But I always saw and see things differently. I see, no, these are the people that actually, unless they inherited, but if they build it from nothing, they're actually, that shows that they've been highly disciplined, that they made sacrifices, and that they're able to enjoy those rewards. So I never see that as because if we see people that are rich as negative, we will never be rich ourselves.
Correct. Yeah. And I feel like if you feel that you have leadership skills or that type of self-discipline, then going into business could be for you.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, and it's also not all about money, like being rich spiritually and who you become in the process when you go through business ownership. It actually grows you. It grew me a lot, like personally and spiritually, and just like the way I deal with people. It makes you, I think it makes you a stronger person. It makes you better communicator, and fostering those leadership skills. It's almost more than money itself too.
Sure. Yeah. I would say like my goal has never really been about money. Yes, I'd like to be comfortable, but I've never considered myself, oh, I'm rich. And I know I've definitely had some conversations, or even had to let some people go out of my circle going through this journey, because there was just a lot of negative energy and this misconception, like, oh, you're just trying to get rich, and I'm like, no, I'm just trying to change,
serve in a better way, and differently.
Just elevate where I'm at. I'm still in the same industry. I'm still a therapist.
Yes.
And I'm able to bring that into a community
that
key
you
point.
love.
Right. So I'm able to build my own community around that versus just, okay, clock in, clock out. I'm here for my clients, which I love doing. But it is a huge growth factor and just a different trajectory, you know, in general. And it is a lot of spiritual growth. And in those moments where I'm like, wow, what am I doing? Or those times where I'm like, is this going to work? And I'm like, yes, this is going to work. And having to change that mindset of questioning to just stating exactly and demanding what I want, for lack of better terms. But like, this is going to work, and this is why, and these are the steps I'm going to do to make sure that happens, you know? And that's just a totally mindset 360 change, you know?
And oftentimes, you will be able to tell who are your true friends and who want who want the best for you, because sometimes you'll discover as you try to make a change in your life, people that don't want to change, they see that in you, that you are growing, you are becoming something different, something more what they are not becoming, and that's when people can try to hold others down. Because I've seen that can happen even with spouses, you know, in personal relationships, that can happen in family, in parents and siblings.
Any relationship dynamic where you switch into a different mindset or grow in a different way, that changes the boundaries and that dynamic of the relationship. So it might make someone really uncomfortable, especially depending on what kind of like attachment styles or things that they have. So you will definitely see people run away or
move closer,
or like even get kind of try to fight with you about it, you know, become confrontational, right? So it's an interesting journey.
Sometimes people will say those negative things or try to discourage you, because the other thing is that they are attached and they do love you, and they're worried that if you change or move up in like societal ladder or whatever, that they will lose you. That's the other thing that sometimes can try to sabotage, like without knowing that, but that's why they're doing it.
If they have an abandonment kind of fear, it might be subconscious, but it kind of will show itself like in that relationship dynamic. Absolutely.
And of course it can be jealousy too, that some people will just try sabotage somebody out of pure that they just don't want.
Some people are just not nice. You know?
But it's important to have people that are support system, and sounds like your mother is a good support system.
She's great. I have a great family, a really great group of close friends, and building this community with my employees, and I have the brilliant family here too, which it's really cool to.
We have the weekly team calls, which helps to talk about things that are coming up.
And it's cool having come from the Burlington locations, and then I even came back today into town to run some errands, and here we are, and seeing some team members that I don't get to see a lot, and and I still feel like, oh, it's my family, and I miss you guys, you know. So it's great to have that supportive community in this process.
And I feel like when I became entrepreneur, I especially more throughout the years and now, you have to have faith, like you said. You have to have like that belief. For me, it's like having faith, and I feel like God is leading me to do certain things, and it's like in a destiny. And if I do get overwhelmed or like there's a difficult situation, I feel like I just say myself, okay. And I'm sure people watching maybe not religious or follow different religions or not follow any, but for me, because I'm a Christian, I just say myself, I can do all things through Christ, or like the power of the universe, because I believe the universe wants us to prosper, wants us to be healthy, happy, and grow and help other people live better lives. So if the intention, what I'm doing is good, even if I make some mistakes along the way, like I know where my heart is, and like nobody that would try to sabotage or say something, it's not really going to affect me because I know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. I look at things as I do things through God, the God of my understanding, and when I find myself in a frustrating situation, or you know, it might be something like some paperwork or some bureaucratic something that I'm like, how am I going to
licensing or something like
those
that.
type of things that can get really frustrating. And I think like, why is it like this, you know? And so what I have to realize is when I'm trying to control something and do it my way, instead of taking that pause and just letting God take control. And that's kind of how
like
I
Jesus
navigate.
take the wheel almost.
Pretty much,
right?
yeah. And so if it's not God's will, it's not what should happen, is the way I look at it. So if I'm trying to push my will on something, that's when things will crumble, because who am I to control things?